changing, we're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more.
Today we're going to jumpstart what I call thoughts versus feelings. Thoughts versus feelings. I don't know about you, but growing up in the 60s in the South as a boy, feelings were not encouraged. I was thinking about that this morning. Feelings were not encouraged at all. Feeling angry was not okay. Feeling sad meant that you were weak. Feeling happy meant something was wrong with you, and it was soon something that you would be getting over. And so over my life, I've discovered how rarely I either notice my feelings or even, in most cases, experience those feelings. When I was working to become thin, to drop 100 pounds, I noticed that I never felt hungry. I didn't even know what the feeling felt like. And so often we confuse and even conflate thoughts and feelings. We say, I feel we should go on a picnic today, or I feel like having a picnic today. Actually, that's the result of a thought. Now, if we go in and consult our feelings, that's great. Women are much better at doing this, I find, in most cases than men. There are some men who are far more in touch with their feelings than women. But it comes down to being aware of what our bodily sensations are. My bodily sensation is, when you're talking about your feelings, you basically should be able to say, my bodily sensation is, and to notice what you're feeling. Now, your thoughts are mental processes, and they are created basically by how you were raised, and it's a combination of both habits and choices. It is a choice often to think in a certain direction, and then once we have done that, because of the neuroplasticity of our brains, which means that our brains can actually be reshaped and rewired. We think that we're stuck with the way our brains are, but we're not. It's difficult. Don't get me wrong. I think that one of the reasons that I have been getting up so early in the morning is that my brain wakes me up with thoughts and things that I think I need to do or wish I hadn't done or whatever. The brain will do that. Now, I can then actively control my brain by saying good things to and about myself and affirming a positive future. The challenge is in the middle of the night, as we've discussed, we tend to then challenge ourselves much more. It becomes very difficult in the middle of the night because our ego, which is our dark side, our protective self, is triggered in the middle of the night. It's supposed to protect you. That's the ego's job. So it is really triggered in the middle of the night. And so that is why it's difficult. Notice I said the word difficult. Can I say that word again? It's difficult, but it's also not impossible. You can change your thoughts. Now, the reason it's so difficult, the science of neuroplasticity teaches that thoughts, brain connections that fire together wire together. So in other words, if something happens to you and you get triggered in a certain way, your brain actually, in an attempt to make your life easier, simpler, just goes, well, you know what, let's just make a connection right here. Let's just connect this particular thing with that particular emotion. I can tell you one that was for me, and I've really worked on this. I've shared this before. People down here in Florida drive unlike any other people I have ever seen anywhere. You've got basically two types of drive. Three, you've got people who are just driving along the speed limit, maybe a few minutes faster, being very careful using their turn signals. Then you've got a lot of elderly retired people here who are far more safety conscious and tend to drive much slower, which makes things very difficult for the people who are in the Lamborghinis and all who are doing the Ferraris doing 130 miles an hour down the interstate. And when I first moved here, man, my brain just exploded. The feeling that I had in my body was total anxiety whenever I drove, just almost panic. I found myself having trouble breathing. Now, how did I overcome that? And I really have now. Not nearly as stressful driving in Miami traffic. And that is, I would say it's down 95%, if not more. Here's what I had to do. I had to use my thoughts to control my feelings. Your feelings and your thoughts are looped. They're intertwined. And so what I had to do, excuse me just a moment. This is the thing about doing live. I could feel that my nose was starting to run. Anyway, the thing about thoughts versus feelings, and what I chose to do in this situation was to really think about driving in Miami and what that meant. By that, why was I afraid? Why was I triggered? Why did my anxiety level and my blood pressure go through the roof? Really, I had to ask my thoughts. I had to realize what thoughts were triggering this feeling of just paralyzing anxiety. I would get somewhere and man, I would have to just sit down. It would just be, whew. So what I realized was that these people in these $175,000 cars don't want to hit me. And they may be driving like it's Grand Theft Auto. But as soon as I start going, how dare you, then I moved into judgment, which is upsetting me, not them. Instead, I just trust that they're going to do what is best for their cars and themselves. And so far, they have. And what I've discovered is I don't get nearly as anxious anymore. My feelings have changed because I have changed my thoughts. And we can change our thoughts. They are our thoughts. I've told this story before, but it certainly bears repeating. William James, founder of modern American psychology, was actually the son of Henry James and the brother, or was he the brother of Henry James? Anyway, between his father and his brother, they were the most famous people in the world at the time, and he was very obscure. And he constantly reminded himself of his inferiority to his brother and his father. In other words, he would constantly tell himself, I'm no good compared to them. I'm no good, period. I should be more like them. I'm a failure because I'm not famous like them. And he decided to commit suicide. However, before he did, he chose to try something. Being a psychologist, he chose to make an experiment. What he chose to do was to say to himself, only positive things for 1 year. I like myself. I feel good about myself. I trust that I can handle this. I am a good doggy dad. I'm a good dad, period. I'm a good boyfriend. I'm a good whatever you are, whatever I am, to only say good things to yourself about yourself. And it was during that time that his life turned around and his career turned around, such that most people would know him on par, if not more so, than his famous family. Your feelings are driven by your thoughts. You're not really aware of your feelings other than the fact that you feel anxious. Well, the challenge is you're thinking anxious. Begin to just affirm to yourself. You're already running thoughts through your head. What you need to do is to consciously run the thoughts through your head that are going to improve your life and not scare you and upset you. So give that some thought today. Watch what goes through your head. I've got a new, I can't say her name, Alexa, because she will respond sitting here on my desk. It's one of the Echo ones that have the video camera and everything. And it reminds me every day. It says, say only nice things to yourself about yourself. Why? Because I can tell you, as a person who spent most of his life saying bad things to myself about myself, it feels horrible. It feels horrible. So if you want to feel better, think better. Let's check in and allow everybody who wants to make a little comment before we say goodbye and go into our complaint-free meditation group. If you haven't yet, check out complaintfreemeditation.com. That's complaintfreemeditation.com. I'm going to show you the image we're going to use today as our meditation backdrop. Let me show it to you a little bit better. I just think that's beautiful. All right, So once again, I want to thank everybody. Click share if you would. If you've got people who are struggling with their thoughts and their feelings right now, just click share and your friends and family will see this message in your news feed. Or if you're watching this later as a podcast on Podbean, or if you're watching this on YouTube, wherever you're seeing this, just click share. Also, be sure and post your questions and comments because I respond to them all. Jerome says, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Who said that, Jerome? Charles Fillmore, the founder of Unity. Michelle Doherty, you always say the sweetest things. Great message. Thanks very much. Listen, enjoy today. And you do that by saying nice things to yourself and then moving through your day with patience and understanding. You're just a person doing the very best you can, but do your best. Say the best things to yourself. Enjoy today, everybody in the complaint-free meditation group, which is a lot of the people who are here with us this morning. I'll see you in 7 minutes. I look forward to it. And make it a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
No more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more.